The answer is probably anywhere between 3 months to 12 years. But that's a tough one. Partially because forgiveness, even if the wayward spouse is working really hard at trying to reconcile, at reform, at trying to never be that person again, different personality types are going to have very different struggles, different levels of developmental trauma that the betrayed spouse may have are going to impact their ability to forgive, their ability to feel safe. If they're already dealing with complex PTSD because of their distortions of how they see the future, their lack of a foundation underneath them, it's going to take a long time. So I think it's really, really difficult to give a specific average time. At A Fair Recovery, we look somewhere between 18 to 24 months. If a person is still stuck at 36 months, then, I know that there's a bigger issue. So often, it's about the type of work even that the betrayed spouse is doing. They have to begin to heal from the trauma, the intrusive thoughts. Life has to almost be manageable for them to get to the space where they're looking at letting go and forgiving. And the other problem is because of inner vows, things they've told themselves, I will never be with someone who cheated on me, or things like that. Oftentimes, the betrayed spouse may have to forgive themselves and break that vow before they're even at a place where they can forgive the other person, because they're not interested in reconciliation, because they feel like they're compromising themselves if they do reconcile. Sometimes the betrayed spouse, because of anything in their past, may feel reconciliation's impossible. Or, they may believe that they could never trust again, so they're not going to give it a shot. The reality is the wayward spouse will not control ultimately the decision made by the betrayed spouse. Now, they can be safe enough to reconcile with. They can do all the work to be worthy of forgiveness. But sadly, the betrayed spouse has to decide to do the work. They have to give space for the wayward spouse to even move toward reconciliation. It's a tough one. To me, again, 18 to 24 months, I typically see people having moved by then. If they're doing the right type of work, like we always say, it's not time that's going to heal all wounds. It's, how you spend the time that's going to make the difference. But beyond 18 to 24 months or 36 months, I think you need to decide ultimately what seems to be happening. If you're called to still be there, do that. I know that for Paul Young, the person who wrote The Shack, he said his journey took 12 years for her to be able to kind of come to the place of letting it go. Not saying that someone had to stay there for 12 years, but oftentimes a lot has to happen for that to occur. So I wish I could give you a more specific answer, but hopefully I at least showed you the complexity. And if the wayward spouse is doing the right type of work, which I hope they do, if they are able to see that they're not work and prove they're not that same person, it makes it easier for the other person, I think, to forgive and to try to move on with them.